Lynn, you're on.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I think you guys are totally deluded. Women like can like step out on their husbands and like have no intention of like leaving the marriage at all. I know people
Explain.
who've done it.
Explain.
What's your basis for that?
Well, I've been married for like 20 years. I have friends who've been like married. They step out
Are they
and
still
they
having
have
sex with
no
their
So
husband?
what?
yeah, they have no intention of leaving the marriage.
Are they still having sex with their husband?
Yeah,
Does the husband know that she's doing this?
of course not.
Okay, so
Well, I don't think like the men are going to tell their wives either.
you don't think the men are going to tell their wives either? Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, no.
Generally, men
These,
and women are not the same 100%, but there are certain times where they cross paths, and unless you've experienced it, then you really don't. Like, we're
it's
not
Yeah,
going to experience
you're
it from your side, and you're not going to experience it from our side.
Yeah,
There
but
are
we have
definitely
completely
science on our side.
deluded if you think that women
no,
are
no.
We have
incapable of
science
It's
having
on our
sex
not.
side.
without
It's not.
emotion.
It's not delusion, Lynn. See, the thing
Well,
is
yes,
that
it is.
there's a general rule about this, and an exception to a general rule doesn't disprove the general rule.
okay. There you
Just
go.
because you've got a couple of friends that have done it.
There are exceptions to the rule.
You
Okay.
yourself have used the example in the past of like the guy who just got out of prison
Mhm.
and women are like throwing themselves at him in the bar.
Okay.
And that's for like a short-term relationship.
Okay.
The idea that women can have short-term relationships versus long-term means that like they can have like sex without being in love.
No one
Because
While
the
ever
they're
guy
said they
that
single.
you want
couldn't.
to just like
Yeah,
sleep
while they're
with
single.
one
That's just the
night, you don't
promiscuity
want a
phase.
relationship with him.
That, Lynn, that's just the promiscuity phase. The other girls talked about that as well. That's different.
If you have a
I don't know
boyfriend,
why
how is
this is
that different?
confusing.
Well,
It's
I don't know
because
why you
I
think
mean,
that
we
women
both have
can't have sex without any emotional attachment.
We just talked about that.
They
Women do it all the
generally
time in the
don't.
promiscuity phase. But if they're in a committed relationship to a guy that they're in love with and they're raising his kids, it's very unlikely that she's going to be interested or acting on sleeping with other men. If
That's not
they
my
do, it's because
experience.
they're leaving the relationship.
No,
That's
there's
like I said,
that's a
that's not
fact.
my
always
experience.
there's an exception
Okay.
to
Yeah,
a
right?
rule.
Because you can only think of it through your own lens and your own experience. So that doesn't disprove anything we're saying. That's just your experience. So your singular experience doesn't disprove
Well, the most
hundreds
that
of
you can
thousands of years
say
in
is that
research and
some women,
anthropology.
some women, like they're looking to like leave the
No, we can
relationship,
say
but not all
most.
of
We can
them.
say generally. We can say in general, on the balance of probabilities, it is this way.
Are there, Lynn, are there women that are married and step out on their husbands? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But it's not generally the reason why they're doing it. They are generally doing it to leave the relationship. When women cheat on their husbands, it's because they generally want out because they're done. The only reason why they would
Where's your
stay.
evidence for this?
Have you read any evolutionary psychology books?
No.
You've
Have
sat
you?
down and had a glass of wine with your girlfriends and shared some stories. Of course I've had. I've read them all, Lynn. Come on my show with your stupid questions.
Oh,
There's
good
always
try, Lynn.
I just want to chime in and back
Go.
you guys up because even when I'm in my little friends with benefits thing, it's only that one person. And once I move on and like sleep with someone else, I have no interest in sleeping with anyone else. It's like that one person.
That's generally the way that it works.
And
I'm
it's
the
like,
same
You've
exact.
chosen that guy.
I'm the same way. Like when I'm
Humans,
single, like I'm just out here. I'm genuinely not like sleeping with multiple people, but like if I'm, interested, I have a connection with someone and we sleep with each other, we sleep with each other, but I'm not like seeking sleeping with other people. And then
right.
when I'm with somebody, like, and if I have that interest towards that someone, even if I don't like have an established commitment towards them, like, okay, we don't have, like, boundaries, whatever. Like if I'm interested, like my eyes are locked in and
Let me ask you a question. Do you think that promiscuity in that sense is good for you over the long term?
I mean, in the long term,
No.
I would say yes in a way because
Why, yes?
it's something that you want to do and you enjoy, then do it because then let's say if you are in a loyal, committed relationship, situationship, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
but you already did what you wanted to, then you're not going to have questions in the long run about wanting to do it because you did it already.
I heard yes. Somebody said yes, it's damaging.
I
Who's
think,
that?
I mean, so I agree with what Allie is saying to a certain extent, because I don't have any curiosity as to what else is out there at this point. I've had plenty of experience, and I know I'm not missing out on very much. But is it damaging long term to be promiscuous? Absolutely. Every time you have sex with somebody, it's an energy exchange. So you're taking on their trauma, you're taking on their bullshit, you're taking on all of this stuff. And I think it can be really damaging. But also, if you're having fun and you're able to disconnect, I don't know. I think that looking back, am I proud of everything that I've done? Absolutely not. But would I change it? No, because I am who I am because of it. So,
Right. Like I
Would
have
I-
no regrets. Like, yes, I've slept with people that afterwards I was like, okay, that didn't really do much for me. But, you know, now I'm like, okay, it doesn't really affect me personally. I just kind of keep moving forward.
I think aside from, you were saying it's like energy exchanges and taking on their trauma, whatever, men don't consider that if it's a one night stand, whatever, but also men don't want, and I hate to play like pick me girl right now, but like something that's quote unquote ran through, do what you must with that. I know you guys could dive into that one.
Is there a notch count that a guy might have that would disgust you or turn you off?
I don't ever
from a commitment or a husband
Yeah.
type? Katrina said no. Diana?
like as far as like sleeping with other people.
Well, if we're talking about something over a long-term basis, even husband type of material, is there a notch count that would turn you off? That would be like a no-go zone for you. If you found out he slept with, I don't know, 1,000 women.
My whole rule is I don't want to know.
Okay,
I
so
think it's just better.
so it
not
doesn't matter then.
Yeah,
Katrina
no.
said, yeah. Melissa,
Yeah, same. It's not something that I think needs to be talked about.
you don't want to know. What about Ali and Rana?
Yeah, no, I don't need to know. You don't need to know either. Past is the past.
I think ignorance is bliss, but also it would itch the back of my mind. I need to know. I want to know, but I don't want to know, you know?
Well, you're the masculine one with the walls around you, so that's not totally surprising.
It might actually turn me on, actually, because I'd be like, oh, he knows what he's doing.
I was actually going to mention that,
There you
so
go.
thank you for bringing that up, Katrina. Would it surprise you that notch count matters to men?
No.
Oh, no. My fiance's like, I don't want to know anything about your past because I just don't want to think of another guy being with you.
Mm.
It doesn't surprise me, but it always cracks me up because, like you mentioned, guys will go fuck these bimbos and like go home to their wives. Like, obviously, someone's a bimbo, so like someone's gonna end up with that bimbo. You know what I mean? Like, and I think if we're honest, older women have been that bimbo for somebody, and you know, everyone has a past. I just don't think it's really pertinent information for a long-term relationship. But.
Well, it's pertinent from the sense that if you're going to take a woman seriously, you don't really want to be with a woman that's been with a lot of dudes.
Oh yeah.
Like Katrina said, like you take on a lot of stuff during that time in many senses and regards. The other interesting thing that they came up with when they were looking at divorce stats and the dynamics is a woman that's been with more guys has a higher probability of ending that marriage and cheating on the guy.
What was
Right.
the reason for that?
Well, you're not going to get a straight answer if you survey the women in a study like that because women put a high priority on reputation management. They don't want to be slut shamed. They don't want to come off as being less valuable. So I don't think asking them that question, unless they're hooked up to a lie detector, is going to be an accurate answer. But if I were to speculate, the reason for it, I think, is because, I mean, if you've been with 40 guys and you get married to number 41 and things aren't going your way, you've already been through 40 guys, so who cares? Let's go to 42.
But who keeps count? Like, who?
Yeah.
I'm
Who
not
keeps
like,
count?
no, today I slept with this person, and 10 years ago I slept with this one. Like,
I don't think that you can get an accurate number unless
You
you've
can't.
kept count, right? I mean, you can sort of assess somebody's past by their lifestyle. Like a woman that's been married for 15 years, has probably got a very low notch count. You know,
Let me tell you about the women that have been married for 15 years that have cheated on their husbands with people in between.
Well,
I know those too.
Well, you're friends with Lynn then.
No.
You got the same friends.
Like this too.
No, I don't. They're not my friends. I'm telling you that I know of people.
I know that women do that too. Yeah. Yeah.
It's just like this. And I'll say this last thing, because I think we're starting to come up on time. When we talk about, I don't believe in the whole like energy transfer and like traumas. And if you fuck somebody, then like you're going to see like the life through their eyes. I don't buy into that. But what I do
not
understand.
That far.
But what I do understand is it has to do with oxytocin, the chemicals, and how they're released in the brain. And
you also imprints on them. You have alpha widows, which is another problem. You have more baggage, you know, that comes with that. Like, he hurt me, he did this to me, he abused me, he pushed me down the stairs, he punched me, he called me names. All these different guys do this, and it's like, you know, you have all this baggage that sort of comes along for the ride with every guy that sort of shows up, and that's why these types of relationships where she's been promiscuous don't generally last. They're certainly higher risk.
Right. Well, if we're just talking about the physical, I mean, yeah, all the trauma and baggage that comes aside with multiple relationships, all that stuff aside, if we're talking about just straight, you know, if a woman was promiscuous, let's say she had 40 or 50 notches, she was never in relationships. If you think about the way the brain works and the way that over time, just like any other drug or any other chemical reaction in the brain, whether it's caffeine or it's nicotine or it's alcohol or it's cocaine, doesn't matter. Over time, like the first time you do something, it's going to hit you the hardest it'll ever hit. You'll never get as drunk as you were on one beer as you on the first time you ever tried beer. And over time, you develop a tolerance. You develop that's why over time, really heavy drinkers, they've got to drink instead of 5, they got to drink 10, then they got to drink 15, 20. Caffeine, you develop a tolerance to it. Over time, you need more and more and more for the same effect. And so what happens is the more notches a woman will rack up, the more time she will give that energy to a guy, or that chemical reaction will occur in her brain. It hits less and less and less and less until eventually it's not really hitting at all. So there's a huge difference between the first, second, third time and the 41st, 42nd, 43rd time, where that chemical, that pair bonding chemical, the love chemical of oxytocin, is now so tepid and is petered out to a point where she no longer cares about this guy she's sleeping with, because she doesn't have that chemical pair bond reaction that she did when she lost her virginity, or maybe it was her second boyfriend in college, or whatever that might be. So on a long enough timeline with a long enough notches, it absolutely does have an effect on your brain chemistry and how every guy thereafter has an effect on you. That's my personal theory.
You're getting a round of applause from Rana.
Yeah. Well.
Any feedback on that?
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't agree. I mean, maybe I haven't slept with enough people. My number is not anywhere close to 40, but the husband I'm divorcing now, I mean, our sex life was great. That wasn't an issue. I think he's one of the best partners we've ever had. You learn your partner once you're with them for quite a bit of time. I feel like he was the best. I don't feel like it was worse. I feel like he's way better than my first, second, third, fourth. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
Why would you divorce the best you've ever had?
Because anybody that's gone through a divorce knows that it's not just one thing that makes you file. Like, it's little things that snowball, and
they stack up.
That's what happened with us.
That's the thing, though, right? I mean, like, you get to the point where it's like, okay, it's 5, 10, 15, 20. It's like, at some point, it's just like, if it's not going well, or if it's not going the way that you want it to, it's just, well, we'll go to number 28 and see what happens with number 28. Maybe that one will work out, right? That's the issue with it. Like, that's why throughout history, a woman's virginity was so prized. That's why when Genghis Khan and Julius Caesar and Alexander the Great conquered countries and cities, they would kill off the men of warring age, or put them into slavery, and they would keep the women as war brides and have children with them, right? Because women are valuable in that sense. A woman's virginity is highly prized, so that's why you end up with these notions of problems that come with big notch counts. I really hope you guys enjoyed that clip. If you want to watch the full-length podcast, you can find that over here, that clip's from. If you're newer to the channel, make sure you hit subscribe over here, and pin down below in the top comment, you'll find a bunch of useful links to my website, my supplement line, books, and a bunch of other stuff. Have an amazing day. Peace out.